Hey y'all, this is Amanda. Welcome back to my Texas Zone 8A garden. And today we're outside after 2 days of rain, and we are going to be doing some Coleus propagation, and I'm going to be showing you a bulb haul from Johnny's Selected Seeds and showing you some of my recent purchases for my Christmas front porch. Okay, so that was a lot of stuff. Nothing's long enough for one video, so I was like, let me just put several things together. Anyway, we just got through a couple of days of rain, which was glorious, but also just kind of threw off my plans. And we are within single-digit days of it being in the low 40s, upper 30s. So I don't have much longer with my garden, specifically the Coleus that I have right here. And Coleus, once you start getting below about 45, especially getting into the 30s, the Coleus does not like those kind of temperatures. And so in years past, I've just not done anything. I've just let it all die back. But several of y'all have told me multiple times that I should be propagating Coleus. So we're actually going to use a couple of techniques today to propagate Coleus. And I have 3 varieties of Coleus I'm going to work with. One is this particular one, and I do not know the names of any of them. I apologize. This particular one, and I've got a red one back here, and then I've got another one in the backyard. But the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to cut several pieces. I'm looking for really nice long stems, so I'm going to cut all the way to the base, just like that. So I'm going to go ahead and take several cuttings at each, all the way down to the base, as long as stem as I can get on them, and then we'll go inside and get started. Okay, so I'm just coming in and I'm following the stem as far down as I can. Oh, this will just popped out, but look, I got a bunch of stems off that. And I want about maybe 12 stems of each variety. Oh, that's a big old hole, but truthfully, it's all going to be dead soon anyway. So might as well grab what I can while I can. So I'm also going to grab this Coleus right here. And I know y'all are going to be like, she's insane for cutting all of this back. But if I can hold some of this over to the spring, that would be awesome. Okay, now this Coleus up here is not as ideal because it has blooms on it, but we're going to go ahead and take several cuttings of it and do what we can and give it a try. Okay, so we have a bunch of beautiful cuttings to get started in with, so let's go ahead and get in the house and let me show you guys what my plan is. Okay, so what we're going to do is, the goal of propagation with Coleus is that I have to buy less next year. Like, that's the flat out goal with it. And, you know, the idea is that it can be kept inside under my grow lights, or if you have a window with southern exposure that gets, you know, consistent good light throughout the entire day, you can do that. So one of the first things we're going to do is we're going to do a method where we're going to work with it in the soil first. We're going to propagate it in the soil. So what I'm going to go ahead and do is, I've got my cuttings over here, but I'm going to go ahead and mix up some standard potting soil with some additional perlite. Oh, that was a lot, but I wanted a lot. It's supposed to be 50-50 on the perlite. And basically what the perlite does, it improves aeration, it improves drainage, and what it really does is it helps with rotting, so that your stems do not rot, your plants don't rot while you're waiting for them to actually propagate. All right, so once we have them like that, I'm going to add some water, and I am going to go ahead and pre-moisten these. All right, let's go ahead and pre-moisten this. Okay, that feels really, really good. I'm going to be utilizing my Vigo seedling trays. And the reason I decided to utilize these is because they have slits up the side that allows really good oxygen and air to reach the roots, which I think will be really helpful in this propagation process. So I'm going to go ahead and fill each of the containers. I am not like compacting these big time. I'm keeping them pretty simple. Now you can use just regular pots. In fact, maybe we should do a mix. Maybe that's what we'll do. We'll try some different containers. All right, and then I'm going to use some of these quart-sized containers as well. Get to try some different ones. This one has a little bit of a deeper, actually a lot deeper container. So basically what we're looking for on a cutting, let's pull this up, is we are looking for leaf nodes, and that's where two leaves come together on the stem and where they typically will produce a new leaf. And I'll have this up close so you guys can see. And everywhere there's a leaf node, this coleus has potential to sprout new roots at that leaf node. So the more leaf nodes that you get below the surface, the better, below the surface of the soil. So I'm going to just start by pulling off the leaves. You do want to leave some of the leaves at the top for photosynthesis so that it can bring life to the plant, food to the plant, energy to the plant. I am cutting off of the blooms, so just like that. So I'm going to go ahead and cut all of the cuttings that way so you can have a really good look at them. So once again, I'm going to pull all the leaves off just like that. I'm going to put that aside. And if it has any kind of bloom or starter bloom, I'm going to cut that off. We don't want any kind of plant material beneath the soil because it will rot and become a factor in rotting for your propagated stem. Okay, now that we have our stems ready to go, what the goal is we want to get as many leaf nodes as possible below the surface. So I've got a leaf node here and here, and you can push the stem all the way to the bottom. So I'm going to trim that off. I'm going to make a hole all the way to the bottom, push my stem in, and then make sure it's covered with soil, just like that. Now you can also trim back your leaves a little bit so that your plant isn't having to deal with much. The big thing is we don't want any leaves touching the surface of the soil. So once again, I'm going to make a hole. Let me go ahead and just make all the holes. And then I've got my stem. I've got 2 leaf nodes here. Let's see how far I can get that down. Might only be able to do 1 leaf node on this one. All right, and then I am going to cut some of these leaves, cut half of them off, just so the plant isn't having to push too much water to them. So once again, I've got 2 leaf nodes right there. And then these leaves are huge. So let me just go ahead and cut these off so that they are not going to touch the soil. And it's okay to push the stem all the way to the bottom. All right, there we go. There's our first one, and that's the one in the seed trays. So let's go over to some of these pots. I have 2 pots per set. So I think I can get 3 leaf nodes into this. Pretty far. And just pull the soil up, and then once again I'm going to trim my leaves. Now a lot of other gardeners I was watching do this, they talked about how they really felt like the bigger pots didn't work as well. I think I could do more than 1, I'm going to pull this out, and why don't we do several in one instead of just one in a big pot. They talked about how they really felt that the cuttings did better in smaller containers, which I thought was really interesting. Remember, a big thing, we don't want the leaves touching the soil. Now these are pretty limp right now. I think I'm going to go ahead and get them in water. Okay, so the next part for propagating coleus is very simple. It's just a water method. So I have all these little bitty bud vases that I use for a number of things. I think it's better just to dunk the whole basin than try to pour it in. Okay, so I've got 8 little bottles here, and basically the idea is very similar to what we were just talking about. You want to make sure that you have leaf nodes under the water. And so we'll just strip off some leaves. And I'm going to cut below a leaf node, so I actually have 2. We want to make sure there's no foliage in the water. And then we just slip it just like that into the container. Now you can put multiple into the container if you want. Or you can keep it simple. And remember, the reason we're trimming the leaves is so that there's better water retention. Less leaves means less water loss. Which is better for the propagated plant. Now, theoretically, if these grow really well throughout the winter season, should be able to take additional cuttings from these and continue to build more plants, which would be really cool. Okay, so we explored 2 different ways to propagate our coleus. So we did some in soil mixture, half perlite, half just standard potting soil. And I did do some in the seedling trays, and I did some in the bigger quart containers. I did 3 cuttings per quart container. So that looks good. These are going to go under the lights. And then we did some water propagation in these little containers right here. And basically we just made sure that the leaf nodes were exposed and underwater, and they are going to go up here. So let me get it. I am really excited about the coleus. So I've got it set up under here. It's actually really pretty, and I think it might be really enjoyable to watch this during the winter when everything's dead outside. Hopefully this will do well. We'll see. I'm also going to be growing coleus from seed, and I will be starting that sometime in December. So I'll keep you guys updated on what we're doing there. Now, for the meantime, I have a recent order from Johnny's Selected Seeds. These are the tulip bulbs that I ordered. Now, they said that they were going to ship this the first week in October, and I didn't get these till October 24th, I believe. And even with that, they ended up canceling part of my order. Now, I understand that the Netherlands is having crazy weather and that their bulb harvests have not been good. So I understand that there'll be some cancels, but I was kind of surprised everything was so far behind. But let's take a look at what all we have. The first one is called Darwin Hybrid. It's Tulip Darwin Hybrid called Design Impressions. And I'll put pictures up these so you can see these. This is 25 bulbs. Let me see how much I paid for this. Design Impression. 25 bulbs for $15.64. Now, I am going to be doing a tulip video coming up probably into December, beginning of January, where I'm going to be planting a bunch of tulips in crates outside. For the meantime, in my area, we do not have weather that is cold enough for long enough. tulips typically need 8 to 12 weeks of significantly cold weather, or consistently cold weather is what I should say, consistently cold weather, in order to be able to produce blooms in the spring. We don't have that in here. So I have to fake it. Basically what I have to do is I got to take my tulip bulbs and I have to put them in the refrigerator and pre-chill them in the refrigerator for 8 to 12 weeks. I did say refrigerator, not the freezer. And I've already got some that have been in for over a month at this point. But these are going to kind of be a little behind. So maybe with the ones that already have in, I'll do those mid-December, and then I'll do another round beginning of January, mid-January, getting them planted out in the ground. But I've got the design impression. I love the impression series, so I am growing a wide variety of them. So the first one is design. The next variety is called pink impression. And I got 25 of these bulbs for $15.64 as well. All the bulbs look nice and healthy. They don't feel squishy. Everything feels, you know, nice and firm, and they look really nice. So that makes me feel good. They don't look all rotted or anything like that. These are about 20 to 22 inches in height, and they bloom mid-spring. Now the design impressions are 18 to 24 inches in height. So I've got those. The next in the impression series is called red impression. I was really excited about these. These are about 18 to 22 inches tall, and they bloom early spring as well. And once again, it was $15.64 for 25 of these bulbs. These look really nice too. And then the last variety that I got is not part of the design or the impression group, but it is one that does well in my area, which is called Queen of the Night. And this does really well in Zone 8A. And Queen of the Night, it's late spring, and it's approximately 20 to 22 inches tall. And I'll show you a really beautiful arrangement I did with some of these. I'll put a picture up. Now, all these bulbs will go into the refrigerator, like I said, minimum 8 weeks. I would say I tried to err on the side of 12 weeks. We'll see how that does with my timing for the spring. But minimum 8 weeks in the refrigerator, not the freezer, very, very important. And then I'm going to be planting them out in crates outside in the backyard, crates so that I don't have to plant them in my actual landscape, because I am growing these to harvest for cut flowers. I'm not growing these as decor or a decorative element within my garden. Now, another thing about tulip bulbs in my area, typically we grow them, we pull them, we toss them, we don't keep the bulbs. And I know that's just shocking to a lot of people. A lot of times it's just not worth the hassle. Maybe this year I'll keep them just for fun to see how it goes. But truthfully, even if I did keep them, I wouldn't be able to keep them in the ground. So I'd have to dig them up anyway, because they will rot throughout our rainy season. And then I guess I would just store them, and then I'd have to put them back in the refrigerator again. I don't know. We'll see. Maybe we'll play around with that and check that out. But I'm really excited about these 4 new varieties that I got. Excited that they're finally here, and that I can go ahead and pop them in the refrigerator. Here's a little sneak peek. All my bulbs. So these are the Johnny ones, but we have a lot of bulbs back here too. The whole top shelf is filled. Okay, and to wrap up today's video, I wanted to show you all a few things that I picked up from Walmart for my Christmas porch. I don't typically buy a ton of stuff, but I'm so drawn to these. Specifically, these, I guess, Nutcracker Toy Soldier. I thought they kind of looked like topiaries. They were $24.98 at Walmart. Really like the look at them. Of them, and I really think I'm going to do something cool with these, like in a pot with like evergreens around the base, something like that. I think it's going to be really cool for Christmas. I don't usually pick up Christmas this early, but I just saw these and they were selling out like crazy. They have them in red and white as well, but I really, really like the green. And then I found these ornament stakes, so just stacked ornaments with garden stakes at the bottom. And I thought that these could be really cool in some of my planters, a set of 3 planters with some evergreens around them as well. And these were all different prices. This one was $20. This one was 15, and then this one, which doesn't actually have a garden stake, it's just a regular ornament, it is 12. But I figured I could put a stake or something, or just stick it right into the planter. I thought would work great. And I bought 3 different ones for 3 different sizes. I thought would be super cool. But I did want to show you all, and then I specifically wanted to point these out in case you all were interested. They are selling out fast, and I thought some of y'all might be interested in picking some up. All right, y'all, I hope you enjoyed today's video. It was a wide range of things, including propagating the coleus, showing off the tulip bulbs that I just got from Johnny's Selected Seeds, and showing you some decor that I picked up for my Christmas front porch. As always, make sure you hit that subscribe button and that notification bell so you know when my latest videos are up, and be sure to check me out on Facebook, Instagram, and TikTok. As always, she's a mad gardener or a decorator or anything else that she wants to be. Thanks, y'all.